It's about the music of Lynyrd Skynyrd, the greatest Southern rock band of all time.
Well, it's been 45 years since the plane crashed, killing all but 2 members of the Lynyrd Skynyrd band. 6 people died when the plane went down near Galesburg, Mississippi, leaving 2 original band members behind. The drummer, who helped define the band's sound with double bass drumming and was on the flight, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Artimus Pyle, who is joining us live in studio as well. Artimus, can you share your story?
It's been 45 years. Seems like yesterday. And then in some ways it seems farther away. But it's with me every day. I think about, my friends and every day. And when I'm playing the music, sometimes I get emotional during a set. But the power of the music gets me through. Music is the language of the universe. And being the drummer of Lynyrd Skynyrd has saved my life. So the 45-year anniversary, it's a remembrance. Of course, it's not a celebration. I hear hundreds, thousands of stories. Like Simple Man, means so much to people, and Freebird.
How has it been navigating any sort of survivor's guilt and being able to turn that into a positive by honoring their life?
You are so right. I have survivor's guilt. For years, I wondered why am I here and they're not. I've answered some of those questions by continuing to play the music and honor the music. And my band, APB, we play the music with honor, respect, and accuracy. And just keeping the music out there. It's still relevant. Back then, a lot of the grief counseling was drugs and alcohol. And I saw it kill a lot of my friends. But I was able to understand it and get it together. And my children, my family, 8 children and grandchildren, that's what kept me going.
And your children have been a huge part of the film that you're releasing.
My oldest son, Chris, wrote 3 songs for the soundtrack. My son that I live with, Marshall, my middle son, he wrote a beautiful song. I mean, a beautiful song called Southern Feelings, but the line is, live each day like it could be the last day of your life, which I think is kind of a good sentiment, whether you can do it or not. So my band, APB, we wrote a song for the soundtrack. My friends up in Nashville wrote songs for the soundtrack, and it's a beautiful soundtrack. But like you say, we released the movie and the soundtrack during COVID, and it kind of got passed over a little bit. I'm not going to complain about not getting enough airtime for our movie and soundtrack because the whole world suffered because of COVID. You're
here in New York. You're also here to promote your tribute album. You have a very exciting featured guest on there.
Oh, yes. We have Sammy Hagar is singing Simple Man. We offered a song to Winona Judd because we know her heart is broken. Dolly Parton is singing Freebird. Dolly played it for me, and I cried like a baby when I heard it, because when you hear Dolly singing Freebird, it's very emotional. And on the track is my good friend, my brother that I love so much, Gary Rossington. It's all these great artists interpreting Lynyrd Skynyrd songs. My band set up the artemispyleband.com, and you can pre-order the album through that website. And the movie that we did and the soundtrack, I want you to know this. I didn't make a dime on that movie. I gave that story to Hollywood because I wanted people to know what we went through.
What are you hoping the Skynyrd world will take away from this film and from the album?
Well, they'll see the nightmare that we went through on October 20th, 45 years ago. Wow. Just hit me. I think they'll see that we loved our music and that we went through a lot that day. I appreciate the question, and I'm sorry I got emotional.
Do not apologize. It is a massive event in your life, and we all appreciate you sharing your story. Another thing, too, is you've been considered a wild man, a fun little nickname.
I don't know why I've got that title, the Wild Man of Rock and Roll. That was John Bonham and Keith Moon. I'm more subdued. I was kind of a daredevil more than a wild man. But,
When Artimus Pyle, the drummer of Lynyrd Skynyrd for the bulk of the Seventies, had the news 2 days ago about the death of his former bandmate, guitarist Gary Rossington, he immediately pulled up the last text messages between the two. Pyle said, "I have already gone back, looked at them, and read the entire thread between Gary and I, and I would cherish these takes for the rest of my life." Pyle, who replaced original drummer Bob Burns in 1975, told Rolling Stone over the phone from his home in rural North Carolina. Rossington died March 5th at 71 after years of health issues that knocked him off the road on more than a few occasions. Perhaps best known for his slide guitar work on Skynyrd's Immortal Freebird, Rossington was the last founding member of the Southern Rock Titans. When Bob, Gary, and singer Ronnie Van Zant got together in Bob's carport on the west side of Jacksonville, Florida, they put something together that went worldwide, Pyle says. Everyone will remember Gary as a road dog, trooper, songwriter, and one of the greatest guitar players that ever lived. He just loved being on stage. Pyle first crossed paths with Rossington in 1973 and officially joined Skynyrd 2 years later. Pyle says Rossington and fellow guitarists Ed King and Ellen Collins each had their own playing style, which gave Skynyrd so much of its depth. That was Ronnie's genius, Pyle says, being able to bring together what wouldn't seem like a feasible pairing, three completely different guitar voices. With the death of Rossington, Pyle, 74, is now the only living member of the band to be enshrined in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He was inducted with Rolling Stone, Burns, Van Zant, Collins, King, Billy, Powell, Steve Gaines, and Leon Wixon in 2006. He's also the last survivor of the band's tragic plane crash in 1977, which killed 6 people including Van Zant, Gaines, and backup singer Casey Gaines. As it turns out, being the last living member of Lynyrd Skynyrd is not all it's cracked up to be, Pyle says. It's painful, and I'm trying to process it and deal with it. Let's continue praying for Gary's family, his soul, fans, and everyone else who was touched by his works. Rest in peace, King.